Someone was stalking a businessman that had like a $40,000 Rolex on his arm, and they went into the bathroom and chopped his arm off for the watch and hit the main artery. And my sound engineer, who was in the urinal stall next, blood spraying everywhere, chaos. One of the best advices I got was, don't spend any of the money for the first 4 years, reinvest it back into the business always. I always want to help people to become better players. It's more important to make them a better player. The money comes with it, but if you earn someone's trust, right, you're going to get their business. My grandfather had a great saying years ago, make a slow nickel instead of a fast dime, you'll keep a customer longer.
Yeah, I like that.
And that's true. What my specialty is this, I have 11 years working with the best players in the world, bar none. No other fitter in this entire region can say that. None.
Hello, all you beautiful people. Welcome back to Talkin St. Pete. I'm your host, Ryan Bogden. Before we get into today's episode, I want to let you know that this podcast is sponsored by Bogden Homes here at Keller Williams St. Pete. So if you need anything real estate related here in the greater Tampa Bay area, find our contact information in the description below. And now the real reason we're here, the man, the myth, the legend, Bob Vansweden, owner and operator of Bob Vansweden Golf.
Yes. How are you?
The legend. I'm great, man. I'm so stoked to be here with you today. For the two people who don't know who you are, because if you're in the golf world, you know, I mean, you became highly recommended from my golf instructor out at Mangrove, and you did a great job on getting me some new grips on my clubs.
You. So hopefully it's making you play better. Hopefully you're able to play more.
Well, that's a whole thing. You know, Jonah, my golf instructor, he would say I need to do more practice swings, but
we all do.
We all do. So Bob, for give us a little background on. Before we get into golf, right? Because I think you're a native here to St. Pete.
Yes, born and raised.
Which is rare. You know, I like to say you're one of the unicorns because not many of you are still here.
As older people would say, I'm a true Florida cracker.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And so you went to high school in St. Pete. You really watched the city transform.
A lot.
Yeah. So let's just give me like a little bit of that, and then I want to get into how you got into the music career before golf.
Yeah, well, I went to Bogasega High School and grew up here in town my whole life, and basically moved away when I was 17 and a half to go out to Los Angeles to start my first career, which was being a roadie for rock bands. I got my start as a runner working for some of the big concert promoters in the state of Florida, and did a lot of shows at Janus, did a lot of shows at the old Bayfront Center, which is where Mahaffey is now. And then a building that's no longer in Tampa, the Curtis Sixon Hall. So I did a lot of the shows back in the early to mid 80s, and then started touring in 85, and did that up until 92.
But what were you doing exactly on tour?
So I started out as a runner when I was here in town, running at this, running at that for the promoter. Got to know some people, some road managers, production managers. I had some boxing skills. I boxed growing up, and I got thrown into doing security / assistant road manager.
Okay.
So
you're wearing a couple hats.
Yeah. So, hey, you know how to handle yourself. I'm going to send you out with the band to the record store. We used to have these things called autograph signings at record stores back then. And so a band would come in, and people would be out lines a block long and come in to get pictures and autographs from the band the day of the show. So I'd bring the band to the record store. I'd bring them to the radio station for the interviews. I would set up and do all the list of the guest lists, stamp out all the passes, take them up to the box office, then make sure the dress room's set up correctly, wait for the band to come in on the bus, get them ready, have them eat their dinner, do their sound check, and then showtime.
And you did some pretty big names here, right? From Sting, Bryan Adams, Extreme, Third Eye Blind. Who have I missed?
Oh, there's a bunch. I mean, my first tour was with Roxgang, who was a local band that got signed with Virgin Records. They were a glam band, kind of like Poison. I worked with Poison. I worked with Def Leppard some. I worked with Bon Jovi. the list goes on. About 15 acts in an 11-year period.
Wow.
So I traveled all over the world. The only place I haven't done a show is Antarctica. And,
Fair enough. A little cold up there.
Yeah, well, 3 of my buddies actually did a show there.
Really?
Metallica did a show at Antarctica.
What?
And I have 3 friends that can claim that they've done a concert on all 7 continents.
Wow. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm very jealous of that.
Yeah. Well, you got 6, right?
I got 6.
Yeah. Who's your favorite to work with?
That's a tough one. I would say my favorite is the band from Extreme. They had a huge hit called More Than Words. I just really got along well with Nuno Bettencourt and Gary Sharon and Pat Badger and Paul Geary, the band. We were similar in age. And, I started working for them right when they were starting to take off. They opened up the Freddie Mercury tribute concert at Wembley Stadium, which was probably the biggest thing they'd ever done. We went out on tour with a bunch of bands as a support act and got off the train with them right when it started to go down. So I did, 2 tours with them, and it was a great time.
Had to be a really awesome time, which leads me to one question that I had prepped for you. Where did it go? Well, what's the craziest backstage or on the road moment you can actually tell us about?
Craziest or scariest? Because
let's go with both because I'm down for a good story.
I was in Saudi Arabia shooting a video at the pyramids with a band, and we were heading back to meet up with the rest of the other bands on our tour. And our sound engineer came out of the restroom covered in blood. Someone was stalking a businessman that had like a $40,000 Rolex on his arm, and they went into the bathroom and chopped his arm off for the watch and hit the main artery. And my sound engineer, who was in the urinal stall next, blood spraying everywhere, chaos. That was probably
that. I did not expect that to come out of your mouth.
And probably being pulled over in the middle of the night in Spain by a rogue set of army guys, and they looted our bus, held us at gunpoint along a ditch. Yeah, just in our T-shirts and underwear because we were sleeping when we got pulled over.
Wow.
So yeah.
So those are not fun moments at all.
No.
And I only laugh out of being uncomfortable because that's Yes.
I mean, that's just being
right. Just being on the road and traveling the world.
I mean, I've probably got 20 more stories similar to that.
Wow.
Doing security for bands and having to deal with crazed fans. I had a girl that followed an artist through Europe, going to every show, and was, in her mind, married to him. And she ended up handcuffing herself to backstage doors, slicing both of her wrists, and I had to bring the artist down to comfort her while we tried to get the handcuffs off and to stop the bleeding.
Wow.
So I've seen some stuff.
You've got some stories, Bob. We'll leave that there.
Yeah.
That's
I think my proudest moment really was with Extreme at the Freddie Mercury. I mean, when you have a band that plays Wembley Stadium, that's the highest a band can be. Outside of maybe an American band that plays Madison Square Gardens.
Right.
Madison Square Gardens and Wembley Stadium are the 2 meccas. So I've done both multiple times.
That's really cool.
So, yeah.
That's really cool. So you decided then to hang your hat in '92?
Yeah, I was starting to get a little burnt out. Mm-hmm. My last tour was with Bryan Adams over in Europe. We did stadium shows over in Europe. And I came home, and a friend of mine threw a party, and I met my wife. I knew my wife very vaguely at school. She was a grade behind me. Mm-hmm. And I was just smitten. And so I chased her around for 2 weeks until she decided to go out on a date with me. And we've been together for 32 years. And,
that's incredible.
Raised a son. He's 21 now and in college up in Gainesville. And
that's awesome.
We've been together a long time. And,
so meeting your wife took you off the road.
Took me off the road. And I had enough money saved up. I really didn't need to work for 4 or 5 years, really, if I played my cards right. But, started playing some golf with some buddies and started hanging out in a golf shop that used to be here in town. And one day they were busy and needed some help. I talked to some customers out in the front while they were working on clubs in the back. And they were like, hey, you're really good, gift of gab with people. Do you want to come work here part-time? And my wife worked, at that time she was working at All Children's. And so she was working. I wasn't. So I was like, yeah, what the heck? I can save some money and use this money to take my girlfriend out on dates. Got to learn how to put grips on, got to learn how to put a shaft into a club that's broken, started learning a few things, and found out that I was good with my hands. Never thought that before, outside of fighting.
Right.
And I enjoyed it. It was really nice. I mean, I wasn't chasing girls out of hotel rooms at 4 a.m. I wasn't getting a Jack Daniels bottle cracked across the back of my head on the side of the stage from a bass player. I wasn't signing for heroin in a FedEx package. I mean,
all the things.
All the things. So it was nice, and I was home. And I was home to see my mom, at the time, and it just evolved. And then I basically asked to buy into the business, and they didn't want a partner. So I said, well, I got to leave. And 3 weeks later, man, I opened up Bob Vansweden Golf on the other side of town, and they pretty much never forgave me for that.
I bet, especially after all the accolades and things that you've done.
Yeah.
So, okay, so how old are you at this time?
When I start the business?
Yeah.
93. I'm 58 now, so probably 30, 31.
Okay, so what was that? Because you came from, traveling the road to then working you weren't necessarily a business owner. This was your first.
This is my first business.
First stint into entrepreneurship.
Right.
What was that leap like for you? I'm always interested in that moment that you decide that you're going to do it, and then that transition.
It was scary. It's still scary today. I stand there in my shop every day with my hand out, waiting for people to pay me for a service. I don't get a paycheck. I don't get insurance. I don't get 401k. It's all driven by what I do, And so it's a matter of doing the best job you can as an independent one-man show so that you get repeat customers. I tell clients all the time, I don't care that you don't buy clubs all the time from me. What I care is that I earn your trust. You tell that so much so that you tell 20, 30 people to come to me over the course of my career. Because if I fit you for a set of irons, I'm not going to see you for 5 to 7 years for another set of irons. I got to do such a good job doing that I hope that you'll tell everybody from your brother-in-law, your father-in-law, your best friend, your neighbor, hey man, go see my guy. And then I've worked a good relationship with a lot of teaching pros because I don't do lessons. They feel comfortable enough sending people to me to get fit for clubs because they know that I'm not going to sit there and steal their business of lessons away from them.
Right.
And I've had lots of clients be like, well, can you teach me too? I'm like, nope. I draw the line at that.
Yeah.
Because I know where my bread's buttered.
Yep.
And so it was scary at first. I mean, that first year, it was rough. I mean, I couldn't rub 2 nickels together,
Yep.
But I learned from a couple of people that were in business ahead of me, and one of the best advices I got was don't spend any of the money for the first 4 years, reinvest it back into the business always. So luckily I had enough money saved that I could do that, and I kept reinvesting in inventory and stock and grips, shafts, all of that, advertising, and just kept building the business up from there.
When was the moment, because I want to get into your accolades and awards that you've won here in a second, but when was the moment that you felt like things took off for you in the shop, or what were you doing to perfect your craft? I
really think 2 things really come into notion. When I moved out to Largo to Missing Links driving range and rented their pro shop there, because at that moment I could open up all the major brands because I was considered a green grass account because I was on a driving range. And so I wasn't building the component stuff that I was before, that really didn't have any, name brand to it. I was able to open up Titleist and TaylorMade and Callaway and Ping and all those companies. And that's what really started it, because that's when I got my first award. That very first year that I was out there at the range, I got my first fitting award from Cobra that year. And then I won another one the very next year from Cobra. And so it started to give me some legitimacy, The other portion was I was smart enough early on that I used to go out to the JCPenney Classic and then what's now called the Valspar, which was Transitions and a couple of other names, on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I would just hang out by the trucks until someone would let me come in the truck, and then I would be like, hey, why do you use that belt sander? What's that brand cutting wheel that you use, why do you put the grip on this way? Why do you use this tape? What epoxy do you use? And I started to learn stuff from the best fitters and best builders in the world, which are out on the tour. And then once people started to get comfortable, people were like, yeah, man, come on out to the truck and hang out, and hey, cut some grips off for me, man. I'm busy in here. I started cutting grips, I started putting grips on, started checking lofts and lies in the truck for players, and next thing you know, man, I'm like working with the best players in the world, and learning while I'm earning, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And then when I won the second time National Club Fitter of the Year for TaylorMade, they started to invite me to come out to events and help out in the truck. And that's where I really learned a lot of my skills and crafts was being out there, because there's no mistakes. You can't make mistakes there. There's millions of dollars on the line every week, and you've got to make sure that that loft and lie that you put is exactly right. You got to make sure that you've put that shaft in with the right amount of epoxy and you balance the club out correctly, because those players can tell. I had one Korean player that literally was a human swing weight scale. He could tell me if a club was a half a swing weight light or half a swing weight heavy just by holding it. And I'd put it on the swing weight scale in the truck, and sure enough, he was right.
Wow. So for those, like, I'm not that in the weeds on golf, and so help me understand, and for the people listening, how do you go about winning these awards? Like, what is the criteria, right?
So,
for like, there's a lot of golfers here in Florida, a lot of golfers here in St. Pete, but we come to you, Bob, we say, hey, fit me, and then that's all we know,
so
right?
A lot of the times, I don't know with every company, I do know with a few companies, majority of it does play into sales that you do for the year. Mm-hmm. But then they also look at, what kind of launch monitor to use, what's your experience fitting, how many years have you been fitting? So you send in a resume, and then a panel at the headquarters, they go through all of these, potential winners. Every regional or every local rep sends 4 to their regional manager, and then sends 4 into the headquarters.
Got it.
And then they vote on it. And, I've just been lucky enough that, I've won a lot of awards.
So in your craft of fitting, like what's the most important thing, or what's something that you've picked up, or the nuances that maybe some other thing people either fitters miss or people don't know about, or I don't know. Just tell me more about the technique, because I'm fascinated by the skill. I
think one of the things that I've learned, and I've held true to it, is I don't have a projector that you can see all the data on the launch monitor like I can on the computer screen, because I really feel that influences the fitting too much. When a player sees that they're not hitting at the yardage that they think they are, they start swinging faster and harder. If someone is truly slicing because their clubs are too flat, they start adjusting their stance to try and start hitting it straighter. Well, now I'm not seeing that player and the problems that I have to face to try and fix.
Because they're trying to overcompensate for it.
Correct.
Unnaturally.
So every year I go to the PGA show and they've got a sale on projectors and impact screens. I just avoid it because I'm staying true to what I believe in as far as that. The other thing is just being truthful with people, man. If their swing is not up for a fitting, I try to sit them down and say, hey, man, let's set you up with an instructor for a couple of weeks. Go work on the swing mechanics a little bit, and then come back and see me. Instead of just saying, yeah, I can't fit you, sorry, go on to the next place. I always want to help people to become better players. It's more important to make them a better player. The money comes with it, but if you earn someone's trust, right, you're going to get their business. Plain and simple.
That's my philosophy. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? People do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
And that trust, once you have it, you can have it, but you can lose it quick, too.
You can.
So that's super important.
I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I'm very proud. I mean, I've got a lot of 5-star reviews on Google, but there's a couple of 1-stars there because people didn't like the fact that I said, hey, I can't fit you, or your swing's really bad and we need to work on that first. They don't want to hear that kind of stuff.
Right. Because that's an ego hit.
That's an ego hit.
Right. Because they want to say the equipment's supposed to help me. Bob, you were supposed to fix my crappy swing.
Right. Right.
But you can't, right?
But you can't.
That's what makes golf interesting and hard and addictive.
If the swing mechanics are bad, doesn't matter how much I fit a golf club to you, you're still going to have those mechanic issues. You're still going to slice or hook really bad. Yeah. So I just, for me, it's just been always being honest with people. Now, sometimes my honesty they don't like, but I sleep better at night knowing that I've been
Yeah,
honest.
that's most important. People can't. Some can't handle the truth, but we know majority can, and you got great accolades and a great shop because of it.
Yeah,
So
I love this shop that I have now. I mean, it's set up perfect. Got hitting bay, the workshop area. We've got the putting lab on the other side. It's just big enough. I mean, I've had bigger stores, but I like this store. It's very small. It's about 950 square feet, but it gives me everything I need to function on a daily basis.
speaking of the shop, we've talked about this a little bit about the PGA Superstore
Yeah,
coming to Tyrone.
Evil Empire's coming, man.
Yeah, so tell me about that, because I mean, it's not very often you get to sit down with a club fitter of 30 plus years of experience, right? And to think that you're going to find that level of talent at one of these stores just seems
You're not.
naive, right? You're not
You're
going
not.
to.
I mean, maybe 1 in 50 stores might have a decent club fitter or builder, but then the rest of the stores don't. You know, I fix a lot of repairs from a lot of the box stores that are in and around the Tampa Bay area. And, you know, I won't name because I don't want to be sued, but there's 2 national club fitting companies that have moved into the area. I get phone calls all the time. Hey, I just didn't feel good about this fitting I got from so-and-so. I'd like to come in and get refitted by you and get your opinion, you know. And a lot of times it's like completely opposite of what they wanted to put them in. Like I had a guy in yesterday that went to one of those 2 places. They tried to put him into Titleist blades, and he's an 18 handicap. And I'm like, man, this is the furthest thing you need to be in. So we tested that one club they wanted to put him in with that shaft, and then we started working on tour cavity heads with a different weight shaft and a different flex, and the performance was night and day. I mean, he was hitting the ball the yardages that he wanted to, had a little bit of a slight fade, but that was somewhat from mechanics.
Yeah.
But so much better than what they wanted to put him in, and for half the price. Because these 2 national fitting companies that are here in the area, they upcharge everything. Whereas if the manufacturers have a free shaft and you fit into that shaft, we're not going to upcharge you for that. We're going to go, hey, man, this shaft's free from the manufacturer. You know, this is great.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, you're playing the long game with customers
Have
doing the right thing, and that's what was such a big referral business, right?
Yeah.
Because people.
You got to play the long game.
Yeah.
My grandfather had a great saying years ago: "Make a slow nickel instead of a fast dime. You'll keep a customer longer."
Yeah, I like that.
And that's true.
I like that, especially here in St. Pete. You know, thinking about we talk about mechanics of the golf swing. I think the mechanics of the city, of the small business networks that are here, are super strong and supportive of each other.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, how much, if any, sleep are you losing over the big box coming in?
Sure. I mean, I would be a fool if I didn't be a little nervous. I mean, it's the unknown. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest, man. When a new, really hot-looking girl comes to school, every guy wants to take her out on a date. Right?
Sure, yep.
PGA Superstore is going to be that new hot-looking girl that every guy is going to want to go in and take a look at, you know? And I don't blame everybody. I'll probably be there opening day, walking in just to see what's going on in there, to check the store out.
Well, I think there's a dip of, like, going to, you know, the Superstore being, like, a big generalist of the sport, and then going to a specialist of your kind.
I mean, what my specialty is this. I have 11 years working with the best players in the world, bar none. No other fitter in this entire region can say that. None.
No, it's massive.
And that right there gives me the confidence to say, I think I'll be able to compete right along PGA Superstore.
I don't have a doubt in it, just because of how, I'd rather work with the local.
Yeah.
I'd rather work with the local.
What I worry about is the other shops in the area, are they going to survive or are they going to fold?
Yeah.
You know, because really, I mean, St. Pete's growing, but can it afford to support 4 golf shops in one city? Or 5, actually, counting Dick's, you know? Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
And someone's going to have to fold. Hopefully it's not me. But I want to tell all the listeners, listen, whatever you do, if you want to buy clothes, shoes, golf balls, gloves, go. Yeah, sure, you can go to the big stores. But if you're really wanting to get fit or you want to get your clubs fixed, support a small business owner, because that money stays in this city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
my money stays here. Okay, my money doesn't go to some corporate national bank and get spread out all through all the different locations they have. You know, it's right here. I spend my money in this town.
I love that. We talked about that on the phone about the flow of money and how important it is supporting those local businesses, because you're then supporting other local businesses that's going back, and it's just, and the money stays in town. Yeah. Like you said, instead of leaving.
My wife and I make it a point to eat at independent restaurants, not go to the big chains a lot. You know, we go to Stella's in Gulfport. We've been to Tony D's across the street here, you know, a few times at the new Italian sub place.
Yep.
I need to support small business guys, because if I don't, I might not get the support from people either.
Well, I don't think it's going anywhere, because that is the character and cool part about St. Pete is that there is so many local businesses.
And people tend to like to support the small shops. I get so many people coming in going, you know, I say, hey, man, I just want to thank you for supporting my shop and not the big box store. And they're like, hey, man, I only support small businesses, man. I don't like to give my money to the corporate companies. So that is one thing about this town that's very strong, is the small business support that
well, and that's what this show is all about, right? Yeah. I mean, we're close to almost 100 different business owners on this show telling their story and, you know, influencing people to go use them and talk to them. And you guys talk about other businesses on the show, and it becomes this amazing network. You know, I think St. Pete, I've talked about this many times, but there's the yoga community, there's the beach volleyball community, there's you name it.
Yeah.
And then there's the small business community, right? Depending on what part of town you're in, and everyone helps each other, has helped each other open their next store or their grand openings from referrals, and it's a really special thing that we have here.
The only concern I have a lot of these days is, can a true small business entrepreneur open up a shop? Because I'll be honest, the commercial rent has skyrocketed in this city.
Bob, that's one of my fears as well. I've talked about that a lot. I hate, you know, there's only been a few chains that have opened on Central.
Yeah.
And my heart says they don't belong there, no matter how much they blend in. Right now, I can think of one right now. It is locally owned, but it's still a franchise, and we just have to be careful of that. Luckily, I've talked with the city about this, and most of the frontage that is available on Central, big box doesn't want, because it's too small. And so that's something that the city planners have done intentionally to keep big box from coming in, is that they don't have the square footage or the frontage of the storefront that they want. So there's smaller parcels. But rents have gone up, and we've seen some shops close. Yeah. You know, local restaurants that have been here and things like that because of the prices.
Not even just downtown, but out west, Tyrone area. You know, I mean, there was a portion where my landlord about 4 years ago, he wanted to sell the building, and he got a buyer, and I had 90 days to move out of my shop, and it was the kiss of death, because everybody saw the for sale sign outside, and they thought I was going out of business. It was
it had nothing to do with you.
Had nothing to do with me. Okay. On the 78th day of the transition, where they were doing the inspections and all, the guy pulled out of the deal, and luckily I'm still there, but it had a lasting effect. I'm still having people go, "Oh man, I didn't realize you're still here." You know,
right? Just from having for sale
because
sign.
I shopped around, and the same square footage that I'm in, it was going to be triple going anywhere other than where I was. And so I do worry about those small independent entrepreneurs that are trying to open up places, unless they've got, you know, Daddy Warbuck backing them. Yeah, they're not going to be able to afford the rent here in town.
No, it's like the cat's out of the bag kind of deal on that. I don't know how to put it back in.
Everybody's hearing about St. Pete. Everybody wants to move to St. Pete.
Yeah, you know? I mean, we're literally talking about it on a show, right? And there is so much money flowing in here. Yeah. And so, you know, I think that's good for business, but it also can be detrimental to the cost. And there's this like fine balance, right, of just basic macroeconomics, even microeconomics on how do we control that supply and demand? Yeah. You know,
I like the fact that a lot of places are doing these markets now, helping the small guys that maybe can't have a storefront, but still want to try and sell their goods and all. You know, we were just at the, I want to say it's not Locapalooza, but the other one. That
it's Saturday morning, or
no, it was the big one at Williams Park a couple of weeks ago.
Localtopia?
Yeah, Localtopia.
Yeah,
that was amazing. You know, my wife and I walked around because we were considering, you know, maybe next year, maybe we'll put our tent out and do this. There was so many businesses that, you know, there were so many people at their tents and all. I was like, this is great, you know. Yep. And then Ferg started his first Wednesday of every month, you know, courtyard area for businesses, and then you've got Sunday morning market at St. Pete High. So there's a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurs to get out there and
That's what I mean. The community, it's so strong, right? And supporting one another. So I'm optimistic, and the growth is inevitable. Change is inevitable. This is one thing, right? Like you told me stories before we started that when you were working out at Janus, right, back in the day, that there it was scary to leave at night. Because of downtown was not a place you wanted to hang out.
It was shady.
And so change. Yeah, we're swinging into the improvement, and with improvement comes higher costs, becomes more competition, and all the things.
Yeah.
But we could change the other way, which I don't think we want to do that. And so we just have to adapt and overcome with the change that will be continuous, and it is on an upswing, pun intended.
No, it is. It is. I mean, Janus in the early '80s, man, that was a rough area of town. I mean,
tell me a little bit about the history since you've been here for a while. Like, how have you watched downtown change?
Tremendous. I mean, it was a very quaint, sleepy downtown, for the most part, growing up in the '70s here. I mean, I used to ride my bike down this way, in the summertime with a couple of my buddies. You could ride all over town. There wasn't that much hustle and bustle. There certainly wasn't the traffic that we have today. I can remember watching John and a prostitute slide open a board to an empty first floor window of the Vinoy and walk in there.
Whoa.
This
is when the Vinoy was abandoned.
When the Vinoy was abandoned.
Yeah.
I mean, downtown was rough, but they did a great job cleaning it up. They had a vision, and they've made it come true. I mean, downtown's beautiful. I mean, we have friends that come in from town. They're like, "Wow, man, this is really hustle and bustle down here." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's nice down here."
Oh, I love it. I love it. I moved here from Philadelphia, and I mean, to me, this is a city, but it doesn't feel like a city.
Right.
Like the grimy grit, like from Philadelphia.
And we really don't want that.
No, we do not want that.
Because we need the tourists to want to be here.
No, it's a beautiful, beautiful place that you can still, some people, I'm like, you can still find parking in this city. Right. Go to one of the big five and tell me about finding parking.
Right.
So no, I think we're only trending in the right direction. And it's fun to watch to see what the next 5 years brings us.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Tyrone Square Mall being built back in. It used to just be a Sears and Roebuck's there, and then they built the mall. I mean, that was the biggest thing in the '70s, the mall coming to the area. And if you're a kid, if you're someone listening now that grew up here in the '80s, man, Tyrone Square Mall was the place that we all hung out.
That was the hopping spot.
That was the place. I mean, on Saturdays, man, it was 90% kids in the mall.
The malls were, and now they're
dead.
Yeah, they're not doing so hot.
No.
I'm just making sure we covered a lot of the questions I was thinking about, Bob. So what's next? Where's the direction? Where's Bob in 5 years?
Still working. I have a plan. 9 years, I'm retiring.
Okay.
Yeah, 67, I'm going to call it a day.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep. I've got to get my son through these next 2 years up at Gainesville.
Yep.
Through college. I got to continue to take care of my mother. And then my wife and I, once we retire, man, we're just going to kick back and try and do as much traveling as we can and just enjoy stuff. I'll probably start doing grips and reshaft work out of my garage and not pay rent anymore or insurance on a building or, electric, all of that, and just relax. But it's been a fun run. I mean, it's been a great career. I mean, I miss the music industry. I miss traveling to Japan and Australia and Kansas City and, Saskatoon, Canada. I mean, I miss traveling for free.
Yeah, I bet.
For free.
Yeah.
On
getting paid to travel. Yeah.
Getting paid to travel, seeing some of the greatest bands in the world perform on stage and you're on the side of the stage watching it happen, or, becoming intertwined with some of the biggest stars and them depending on you and having relationships and friendship with them, which I still have a lot of good friendships with a lot of the artists that I work for.
That's really cool.
Yeah. But
that's really cool.
I miss that part of the job, but the most I miss is the 5-minute walk from the dressing room to the stage. There's never been a drug I've ever taken that gets me as high as that.
Right.
I mean, when the lights are off and the follow spots are moving and the intro music's going and you're in front of the band leading them up the ramp onto the stage, you know, and you're standing there while the guitarists are putting the guitars on.
That's game time.
I got goosebumps right now.
Thinking about it.
Just thinking about it because
and hearing the roar of the crowd. And,
that's the adrenaline, you know.
And that's the best one. It's the best one.
And it doesn't suck, you know, flying in Learjets and tour buses and staying at nice hotels and
doing all the things.
You know, it's nice.
Yeah. No, that was cool that your career started out that way, and what a complete 180, right?
Completely.
To end up doing the golf fittings and being the golf pro. I mean, that's it's so cool, but makes you very unique, Bob, and a fun person to hang out with and come get fittings with and do all the things and hear your stories and you know, to have the professionalism and expertise that you do is really, really awesome. We're grateful to have you here in the city.
Well, I'm grateful to be here. I mean, I hope that the next 9 years are good for me and somebody steps in and takes over my position at some point because I can't do this forever.
Right. Yeah, you need. Who's your predecessor? Yeah.
I have no idea.
The Yoda needs to train his next master. Yeah, no?
Yeah, my son, you know, he doesn't want anything to do with it. So, you know, respectfully, I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I said, you could have a built-in business to own.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
But
does he golf?
No, he was a baseball player his whole life.
Got it. So his swing's all messed up.
Yeah, his swing's it's not a golfer's swing.
Baseball players come in, their swing's gnarly.
Baseball and hockey players' swings are pretty gnarly.
Yeah,
but they got a lot of club head speed.
Yeah, they have that going for them for sure.
Yeah.
So I ask every guest, Bob, if it's your birthday, we're in St. Pete, we're going out to eat. Where are we going?
That's a good one. I like the new Olivia's. I love Bo and Mo's.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, and let's see, where else would I tell you? You know, I'm going to tell you, Mullet's Fish Camp. I love that place.
I haven't been yet, and it's
great.
A couple people have mentioned it.
It's great. I love that place. You know, but we eat a lot. You know, we do Gulfport. I'm very excited. Moon Underwater's reopening in Gulfport.
Okay.
It used to be downtown.
Okay.
And I'm just can't wait for that to open because I love a good Indian curry dish or fish and chips. So I'm looking forward to that. Should be opening in a couple of months in Gulfport.
Awesome.
But we like Pia's too. We move around. But I would say my favorite go-to for my birthday, probably Bo and Mo's.
It's one of the staples.
Yeah.
One of the staples.
Yeah. What about you?
That's good. So you know what I've been enjoying a lot recently is when I have someone come to town. And honestly, this is just because it's a lot of fun, is to go down up and down Beach Drive but get an appetizer from each spot.
Nice.
And so it becomes like a 4-hour thing.
Sure. If
you got good company, the conversations, you change environment, get a little bit of taste of each. So I just because of the fun and the difference, you know, from starting at Juno and the Peacock to stopping at Ceviche Alelo and then maybe getting the pizza at Bella Brava. Nice. You know, it's a good time.
We just tried a new place on Saturday night with some friends of ours, that new hotel down by the Skyway.
Oh, I've heard about this place.
Luna.
Yes. Is it good?
Yeah, a lot of Mediterranean style food, but it's shareable food.
Yeah, so, I think that creates such a cool experience.
Yeah. You know.
I had one friend of mine that went there, and I asked, so you're the second person I know that's actually eaten there.
I would recommend going, man. It was very good food. The atmosphere was great. You know, couldn't say anything bad about it.
Cool.
All except the fire alarm went off while we were eating.
Oh, no. That creates for an experience. Yeah.
But other than that, it was great being there. But I'm looking forward to seeing some other restaurants kind of open up in the Tyrone area around where I live. Yeah. You know, but we go to, you know, I like Grand Hacienda.
I've heard good things. I haven't been.
Yeah. CD Roma's has been in town forever. Good Italian
another
food.
staple. Yeah.
There's good places to eat.
Yeah, and it's expanding out downtown. As downtown grows, there'll be more opportunities for other places.
Yeah, I keep seeing Central Avenue pushing further and further towards the beach.
Yep, it has to.
I mean, that does.
Yeah.
You know, that I call it the no man's land from 34th Street to 66.
Right.
You know,
yep.
I'm interested to see in 10 years, 20 years what develops in that area. You know, we just got the new Dead Bob's.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's packed all the time.
Yeah, I tried to go there the other night and could not get a seat.
And then the new Red Mesa Mercado.
I haven't been
that
there.
opened there too. So that's been doing well.
Yeah, there's to service those neighborhoods and stuff down there. People want it, right? They don't want to have to come downtown to do it. So the demand is there.
I just think we need better breakfast places.
I agree.
There's not enough good places to go have breakfast.
That is, you know what, Bob? That is profound statement you just said there. Coming from the Northeast, we have diners on every
Whoever
corner.
listens to this, open up a breakfast lunch dinette.
Because
somewhere.
one of my friends have said, "What is St. Pete missing?" And there's a few. I'm not knocking the ones that do it, but brunch. We don't have that. Like you have like high end brunch at the library. Cassis a little bit, but like where can you go where you're like there's a brunch staple? Right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
One of the best things that's been said on this show the whole time.
I like it.
So where can people find you, Bob? What's the best place to get in touch with you?
2300 26th Street North in St. Pete. I am 2 blocks off the interstate, just past the traffic light where the Wawas and Lowe's and Home Improvement is.
Yep.
And on the flip side of that, I'm 2 blocks east of Mazzaro's.
Well, people love Mazzaro's. What's the best website?
Yeah.
Instagram.
BobVanswedenGolf.com is the website. Got a brand new website. Check it out. It's got a lot of great stuff. We got photo gallery, video gallery. We've got all the podcasts that I go on posted there. Email is golfrepaircenter@verizon.net. And the phone number to reach me at is 727-321-4653.
Amazing. So one last question I ask every guest. For those that are still listening, if they were to make it this far and they were going to comment your secret word, what's the word?
Well, it's more than one word.
That's fair.
Work hard.
Work hard. Oh, Bob, that's good.
You got to grind.
You got it
all the time.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Right
now.
You didn't stop. 30-some years later.
I got PJ Superstore opening up in August. Right. I got to get the word out, So I'm grinding all the time. I'm going on podcasts. I'm going on radio shows. I'm doing print interviews. Whatever it takes, you got to keep grinding. If you get comfortable, that's when you get into trouble.
Yeah.
But if you keep grinding and pushing all the time, you'll be successful in your business.
Boom. We're gonna end there.
All right.
Comment, work hard. Thank you, Bob. Thank you for being here. It's way hot here for some reason, so we got to get out of here, folks. Don't forget to comment, work hard, share, like with a friend. Go check out Bob Vansweden and get your golf clubs fitted. Maybe it'll help your crappy swing. Okay, see you on the next one.